Okay, the KORG KRONOS FX blocks. I thought I'd make a video on this because I saw a lot of comments, people wondering if they should get a Kronos instead of a Phantom or Montage, whatever. And I kind of wanted to expose how unique the effects blocks are to the Kronos for a workstation, and how they do everything actually the opposite in the way Roland and Yamaha at least do, like on the Montage and the new Phantom. And so what makes it real unique is, so I'm in sequence mode, and what they've done is structured the effects in 3 different layers, we'll call it, and then you wire how you want your tracks to go into the configuration, versus Yamaha and Roland, where they in a way it's okay in what they did, but they hardwire the blocks in some kind of configuration to each track. So you don't really have a choice on how you can run things. And where that doesn't become as useful is if you want to start chaining effects and so forth, and if you're someone that does that. And the Kronos will allow you to do that, whereas the other keyboards won't allow you to do it, at least not in this way. And so the first layer happens to be IFX, and you get 12 of them. And you might think, well, you know, the Montage, you get basically 24, 2 per channel, or 32, excuse me, that's 2 per channel. And you can run that through what they call your I can't remember what they call it, but another layer, and then you go through the whatever, the EQs and so forth. And like on the Roland or the Integra as well, they give you 16, which is 4 more than Kronos here, but then they lock you into using 1 per every channel, irregardless whether you need that effect or not. And so where it gets different is when you want to create an effects chain. And essentially that's the difference. So that first layer is 1 through 12. And each stage of each layer, you get access to the same bucket of effects, which is real flexible. I'll show you in a minute. So like on this sound here, it's just an acoustic piano. Okay, that's running through a compressor, and that runs through a send. That send is part of that second layer that I was referring to, which is your MFX. I happen to be running an overb. Here's your overb here on that second layer. Now, if I wanted to, I could run the overb on the IFX layer, which is something you couldn't do on the Roland. Roland gives you like a dedicated reverb and chorus, and that's on a second layer that would be like on your TFX level, which I can do that on here too. But again, more flexibility in this sense. Like on channel 2, track 2, I mean, I've got this Rhodes, right? And you hear that delay and you hear that reverb. And that's coming from the tremolo is actually coming from the actual, there's like a virtual pedal that's part of that engine, of the Rhodes engine, the EP engine, which is kind of like a bonus effect that has nothing to do with the layers of the MFX. Okay, so that's running through the stereo compressor, then it's going through the second layer, which happens to be your MFX, which I hit this tab. And the MFX has an overb and a stereo compressor, which is controlled by the send levels. And there's your overb, and there's your delay. Okay. And here's what kind of gets more so interesting, is when I go into, so I'm gonna go into number 4. This is like a synth. If you can see right here, I'm going to run this through run this guy through IFX 4. So 4 happens to be the way it's configured. If you look at it, 4 happens to be going through a 7-band EQ and a dynamic delay through serial. So I'm running it through here, then through here. This might be like something that you could do on a montage, basically, but because they give you 2 inserts per channel. So if you take a little look at it, 4 is your 7-band EQ. This is the page where you do all your editing and so forth. And then 5 happens to be a stereo dynamic delay. Okay. So I'm back to here. And then so on and so forth. Here's a bass. So the bass happens not to be running through anything but the main left and right. So from the bass here, and see it's assigned to the left and right. Okay, I can, if I want, can run them through any of these channels, even this chain of 2. You can hear that, and even the chain of 2, if I wanted to, I can just run it through the second part of that chain, even though they're tied together. Okay, or just the left and right. Okay, now when you run it through the left and right, these are your send levels to control how much of like reverb or chorus that you want through your MFX. See? And here's your like delay here. Okay. Otherwise, you would be, if I had run it through that first layer I talked about, your IFX, then your IFX chain level is right here, which is like send 1 and 2. Okay, so think of it like this: you're going to run it through the big machine of processing, or you're going to run it through your main left and right and out. And so that's how you kind of distinguish your signal path. Okay, and then your audio, because it does audio, full audio track or audio recording capabilities. And so in that case, your audio tracks, like I said, you can run through any of these here. This is your MIDI, brown is your audio. Very flexible, I love it. And then again, here's your sends here, left and right, and so forth. So, so what's unique about it is, even if you've got a chain, let's see, like, I'll go back to an example. I'll go back to 4. So that's running through 4 and 5. If I want to, right here, I can, instead of running through the beginning of that chain, I can run through the second part of that chain, even though they're tied together. See that? Right. Or I can run it through the main left and right. That's just dry. Okay. Or run it dry and run it through the delay that I have through here. And it still sounds good. Okay. A lot of flexibility. So when you're running a sequence, okay, you get, each sound kind of has its own identity that, you know, you choose to make it how it sounds, and you're not locked into that old school workstation thing, which was because hardware was limited back then, how much DSP could run, and they were pushing like in the M1 and stuff, SY77. So this has come a long way. And so if you're someone that's going to buy one keyboard only, and that's all you had, and you want to squeeze out the most capability out of one keyboard, you know, the Kronos is probably the one to do. The workflow, I got some issues with all the extra button pushing and paging, but the capability, the bottom line capability is there. Whereas like on the Phantom, they haven't quite gotten there yet. You can do great percentages of stuff, but I'm just talking about if you had to have one thing, no laptop, just one keyboard. The Kronos is it. It's at least a very serious contender to think about. And people have been asking me on either my YouTube page or on the Synthesizer and Drum Machine Facebook page, you know, they're saying like, do I get the Kronos or do I get the Phantom or whatever? And I thought I'd make this video for those people that are on the other side of it, that don't own it, to see how powerful and flexible this keyboard can really be. It's just a matter of digging deep into it, because it's got sampler, audio recording. You can go on the inputs and process all the DSP from an external sense if you pick up something else down the road. It's a beast, especially for something that came out 2000, I want to say 8 years ago came out. So, you know, so it's definitely something you should consider.